So Ray Rock, it just came out. I think you say it's Boseman, the lead star from Black Panther, just passed away after a 4-year bout with
Brain
colon
cancer.
cancer. I thought it was colon cancer. Was it brain cancer?
It's brain cancer.
Are you sure? It
Well,
says
maybe I got it wrong.
yeah,
Somebody hit me.
it says
I got a
colon
text.
cancer on TMZ.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
Super sad, man. 43 years old. 43 years old. This dude just caught his peak. It's his stride as an actor, as an activist, as a believer in Jesus. Gosh, man, it just reminds us how fragile life is, bro, and that you can have all the resources, all the money, all the fame in the world, and how you die in your early 40s of colon cancer, bro. That is
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
And that goes to show you that um it goes to show you that you know we need to make most of the time we have, and also take care of ourselves, right?
Hmm.
Because I'm not saying he died from not taking care of himself, but imagine if he didn't take care of himself. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? He obviously took care of himself. He's great shape.
Right.
So it's just like this is someone who died at 43. You know what I'm saying, of cancer, and he took care of himself, and he
Hmm.
had money,
And
and
he
he
was in
had
great
all,
shape. Yeah, great, good, good
and you
doctors. Yeah.
right. So it's just like, man, like you don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, somebody wrote on the in the Zoom, the rich are not exempt of trouble, and that is true. It's true. Um, but I would also say whenever somebody dies, you know what I'm saying. I wouldn't reflect too deeply on death too much on a negative point, but just take a moment um, to let go of something.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like for me, like when people die around me and my family, or in the news that like I feel connected to them, like Black Panther, something I'm connected to.
Hmm.
I immediately reflect on what do I need to let go of that I'm holding on to, for this year, or this week. Maybe you know what I mean. Like it's a good practice to do that.
What do you mean? Explain that. You said when people die
So when people
publicly
die,
and
right?
you're
Like you
connected to
can
them, you said
use
what can you let go of? What do you mean?
so for example, when people die, sometimes what we do is we tend to like just reflect on the idea that that man, life is so fragile,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
And then you can find yourself in a vacuum of thinking about death all the time, right?
Yeah.
And it's not life is fragile, so let's be depressed, right?
Right.
That life is fragile, right? But say life is fragile, and that means that today I have an opportunity to be a more authentic self, a more
Mm.
free self. So
Yeah.
like, who do I need to forgive,
Mm.
right? Who do I need to hug a little deeper, right? Like, use these moments where catastrophe happens, you know what I mean, where it doesn't happen directly to you,
Yeah.
to not just remind you that life is fragile, but to remind you to hug someone a little bit deeper. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like, like your mom, hug your mom. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, tell your daughter you love her.
Yeah.
A little bit more, because life is fragile. Some people say life is fragile, and then they vacuum into like, I'm gonna die. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, man. I love that point. I think obviously being grateful for what we do have, the time we do have, but also knowing that like we're all gonna go. So figure out ways, especially as creators, figure out ways, especially as artists, as YouTubers or whatever. One of the things I've discovered that's a struggle for many of us, myself included, is how to be your authentic self, right? To not give a curated version of yourself, to not give a like to not give a watered down version of yourself, but to fully be first and foremost, present in the moment, which I think is the most important thing. Present in the moment, present with what's going on right here, right now, present in the moment. And then 2, with your family, whatever, right? And then 2, like, life is too short to put on a mask. Life is too short to be inauthentic. Life is too short. And what I found and the struggle that I've had is just, how can I be my full self, even on this platform? How could I be vulnerable? How could I be transparent? How could I speak on topics that mean a lot to me, but I feel uncomfortable talking about? I don't feel comfortable trying to give nuanced views on social issues and politics and Black Lives Matter, and you know what I mean? Like, even the video yesterday, like, I made a video yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, Ray, but I made a video yesterday about the whole situation in Wisconsin, right? And I'm just like, yo, like, the more we aren't true and honest about these situations, like, the more we're gonna get the opposite result. And it was a hard video. Like, it was a hard video to make, and people, and I'll get chastised for it. But I'm cool with it because I'd rather fully be myself and fully be authentic instead of making a curated version of what I think people want, and that never works because I think people can tell when you're being inauthentic and incongruent. And the more I've pressed into uncomfortable things that I don't, and I'm okay with being wrong, by the way. Like, I'll say something and then be wrong and be okay and be like, yo, I was wrong about that, the more I'm willing to be vulnerable holistically, I feel like the more life feels more fulfilling. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
That's a bar, man. Like, I don't want to spend too much time because there's other people waiting, but I will say that vulnerability needs to be talked about more because it's often seen as a weakness, but it's actually our greatest sign of courage.
Come on.
It's it's also coming to a place in your mind where it's better to be it's better to understand than to be understood.
Yeah.
Right? So if you think about some of the things that we struggle with, right, is wanting to be accepted, wanting to be wanted. You know what I mean? But if you can find yourself in a place of understanding, you know what I mean, and knowing that it's not about winning or losing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And be courageous in your vulnerability, then you'll be able to see more and more of your authentic self. It's not I also want to make note of this, like, being more authentic who you are isn't like, oh, there he is.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's more of no pun intended, but restoration. That journey of being courageous. It's for me, it's like there's things that have to be stripped away, the things that we've covered up and concealed, right? I remember seeing these things where they restore these statues that have been painted on and stuff on there, and you think that the statue of this lady, she's crying, you know what I mean? But when they remove all the layers and stuff like that, or she has a blank face, she's actually smiling, right? But it's all the layers of paint and the things that have been concealed that it's robbed the viewer of her smile. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's things that need to be stripped away that we've covered and concealed. It's opening up your heart to confess to God the things that you're angry about, the things that you don't have in control. You know what I'm saying? And then being okay with repairing and replacing things in your life. It's tough. You know what I mean? Nobody if you're restoring a rocking chair and a portion of the rocking chair, part of the wood is rotting away, you literally have to rip that thing out, and then other things can be treated. So it's just like, it's a good reminder. Yeah,
man. So R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. Super sad.